Part 1: The Broken Father. The smell of burnt circuits and alien sweat clung to my work clothes as I hurried through the crowded marketplace of Station Nexus 9. My shift at Korvac's repair shop had run 3 hours over. Again. But I couldn't complain. Not when every credit counted toward Lily's medication. Daddy, slow down. My 6-year-old daughter's voice barely carried over the cacophony of dozens of alien languages. I immediately adjusted my pace, cursing myself for forgetting. Her mobility chair's anti-grav unit was second-hand, barely functioning, and couldn't keep up with my desperate stride. Sorry, sweetheart. I turned back, forcing a smile that I hoped looked genuine. Lily didn't need to see how exhausted I was, how broken. Station Nexus 9 wasn't built for humans. Hell, nothing in this sector was anymore. Not since the humiliation war 10 years ago when Earth's fleet was crushed in 72 hours. Now we were the galaxy's janitors, mechanics, and servants. The lucky ones, anyway. The unlucky ones. Well, they didn't make it to stations like this. Lily's pale face beamed up at me from her chair, her legs covered by a thermal blanket, even though the station's temperature was set to accommodate the Craven majority. Crystalline syndrome, the doctors called it. A rare genetic condition that made her bones as fragile as glass. One bad fall, one careless bump, and she could shatter. The irony wasn't lost on me. Humanity itself felt just as fragile these days. "Can we get the purple fruit today?" she asked, her green eyes bright with hope. "The one that tastes like strawberries. Zolonian pearl fruit, 20 credits each. I had 30 credits to last us 3 days. Maybe next time. Lilybean. How about we check if Mr. Gorath has any day-old nutrient bars on sale?" Her smile dimmed but didn't disappear. She'd learned not to ask for much. No 6-year-old should have to learn that. The marketplace stretched before us like a canyon of colors and sounds. Towering Craven merchants with their obsidian exoskeletons haggled with four-eyed Pantheri traders. Serpentine Vulak slithered between stalls, their translation collars hissing proposals and counteroffers. And scattered throughout, like debris after a storm, were humans. We kept our heads down, moved quickly, and never made eye contact with the other species for too long. I navigated Lily's chair through the crowd, hyper-aware of every alien that passed too close. The Craven especially made me nervous. 7 feet tall, covered in natural armor that could stop a plasma bolt, and with a superiority complex that had only grown worse since humanity's defeat. They owned this station, owned most of the sector, and they never let us forget it. "Watch where you're going, meat," a Craven youth snarled as I accidentally brushed against his lower arm. He couldn't have been more than an adolescent, probably 15 cycles old, but he already towered over me. "My apologies," I muttered, pulling Lily's chair closer. "Never argue. Never fight back. That's how you survived." But the youth wasn't satisfied. His friends, 3 other young Craven, formed a semicircle around us. I recognized the one in the center, Drax, Commander Thaxer's son. Of course it had to be him. "Hey, look!" Drax chittered to his friends, his mandibles clicking in what passed for Craven laughter. "It's the broken human, and his broken offspring." My hands tightened on Lily's chair handles. "Stay calm, Marcus. For her." "We don't want any trouble," I said quietly. "We're just passing through." Trouble. Drax leaned down, his 4 eyes focusing on Lily. "We're just curious. How does something so weak even survive natural selection? Should have eliminated you by now." Lily shrank back in her chair. I saw her small hands grip the armrests, knuckles white. My little girl, trying to be brave. "Please," I said, hating the pleading in my voice. "She's just a child." "A defective child," one of the other Craven said. "My father says humans keep their damaged young alive out of illogical sentiment. Makes you weak." Drax reached out one chitinous claw toward Lily's blanket. Let's see these famous fragile bones. Don't touch her. The words came out harder than I intended. Dangerous. Drax's eyes narrowed. Did the meat just give me an order? This was bad. Very bad. I'd crossed a line, and on Nexus 9 humans who crossed lines disappeared. But I couldn't let them touch Lily. I'd failed Sarah. I couldn't fail our daughter. I'm asking, I said, backtracking. Please, she's sick. If she falls from the chair, then maybe she'll learn her place, on the ground, where humans belong. Drax's claw shot forward, grabbing for the chair's control panel. I moved instinctively, putting myself between him and Lily. But I knew it was futile. He was faster, stronger, and protected by law. I was nothing. That's when the temperature dropped. Not gradually, but instantly, as if someone had opened an airlock. Every breath became visible, and frost began forming on the metal surfaces around us. The craven youths stepped back, confusion replacing arrogance on their faces. I believe the child said not to touch her. The voice was like music played on instruments that didn't exist, harmonious and wrong at the same time. The crowd parted, and she walked through. I'd seen Celestians before, but only in passing, and never this close. She stood 6 feet tall, her skin a luminescent blue-green that seemed to pulse with its own inner light. 4 arms moved with independent grace, each ending in hands that looked too delicate to be real. Her face was almost human, heartbreakingly beautiful. But her eyes were like looking into a nebula, swirling with colors that shouldn't exist. She wore flowing robes that seemed to be made of condensed starlight, official diplomatic attire that marked her as someone important, someone you didn't mess with, even if you were Craven. This doesn't concern you, Celestian, Drax said, but his bravado had evaporated like morning dew. Doesn't it? She glided forward, and I swear the ground beneath her feet turned to crystal. I was under the impression that Station Nexus 9 followed Galactic Council laws regarding the protection of children. All children. It's just a human... The Celestian's voice carried a weight that made Drax step back. She is a child, and you are displaying behavior unbecoming of your father's position. At the mention of his father, Drax's entire posture changed. Commander Thaxor was not someone who tolerated embarrassment. We were just investigating, Drax muttered. Then investigate elsewhere, now. The Craven youths didn't run, but they left quickly enough. The crowd began to disperse, the show over. But the Celestian didn't leave. Instead, she knelt down beside Lily's chair, bringing herself to my daughter's eye level. Hello, little one, she said, her voice warm now, like sunshine through clouds. Are you hurt? Lily stared at her with the kind of wonder only children could manage. You're pretty, she whispered. The Celestian's lips curved in what might have been a smile. Thank you. You're quite lovely yourself. What's your name? Lily Thompson. A beautiful name for a beautiful girl. I'm Zaratel. She looked up at me then, and I felt like those nebula eyes were reading every thought I'd ever had. And you must be her father. Marcus Thompson, I managed. Thank you for what you did. It was nothing. She stood gracefully, all 4 hands moving in subtle patterns. Though I am curious, your daughter has an unusual energy signature. She's sick, I said quickly. Too quickly. Crystalline syndrome. It's a human condition. I see. But the way she said it suggested she saw more than I was telling. How fascinating. She reached into her robes with one of her lower hands and pulled out what looked like a small crystal vial filled with golden liquid. This is Celestian healing nectar. It won't cure her condition, but it will help with the pain. The vial had to be worth 1,000 credits. More money than I'd see in 3 months. We can't accept that, I said, even as every fiber of my being screamed to take it. Why not? Because Because nothing was free on Nexus 9. Because kindness from other species always came with a price. Because I still had some pride left, even if it was just scraps. Because he's proud, Lily said suddenly. Daddy's always proud. Mom said it's his best and worst quality. I felt my throat tighten. 2 years since Sarah died, and Lily still quoted her like she was just in the next room. Zaratel studied us both for a long moment. Then she placed the vial on Lily's blanket. Pride is indeed a quality to admire, but there's no shame in accepting help for those we love. She looked at me again. Your wife was correct. It is both your best and worst quality. How did you? Your daughter's energy signature, she said simply. She carries grief like a second skeleton, as do you. Before I could respond, she turned to leave, but after a few steps, she paused. I frequent the Meridian Cafe in Sector 7 every third cycle, she said, without turning around. They serve excellent tea, and the owner doesn't mind if humans enter. Then she was gone, leaving nothing but the lingering scent of ozone and starlight. Daddy, Lily said, holding up the vial. Can we trust her? I looked at the golden liquid, then at my daughter's pale, hopeful face. Trust was a luxury we couldn't afford. But hope, maybe just a little hope wouldn't hurt. I don't know, Lilybean, but let's find out. That night, after giving Lily a few drops of the nectar and watching color return to her cheeks for the first time in months, I sat in our cramped quarters and tried to make sense of what had happened. A Celestian diplomat had protected us, given us medicine worth more than I made in months, and essentially invited us to meet her again. Why? Celestians were known for 3 things: their otherworldly beauty, their powerful psychic abilities, and their complete lack of emotion. They were living computers, perfect beings who viewed the universe through pure logic. They didn't do kindness. They did calculations. So what did Zaratel calculate when she looked at us? I pulled up my old datapad. The screen cracked but still functional, and searched for information about Celestians. Most of it was propaganda or speculation, but buried in academic papers from before the war. I found something interesting. Celestian emotional suppression is not natural but cultivated. Young Celestians experience the full spectrum of emotions until they undergo the clarity ritual at maturity. Some xenobiologists theorize that this suppression is actually harmful to their species, leading to a gradual decline in birth rates and creativity. I looked over at Lily, sleeping peacefully for once, the golden nectar working its magic. Her small chest rose and fell steadily, and in the dim light, I could almost pretend she was healthy, normal. But she wasn't normal. She never had been. Even before the crystalline syndrome diagnosis, there had been something different about Lily, the way animals were drawn to her, the way she could sense people's moods before they spoke, the way her laughter could lift the spirits of an entire room. Sarah had noticed it too, in those last days, when the disease was eating her from the inside out. She'd held my hand and made me promise. Protect her, Marcus. She's special. More special than you know. When the time comes, when she blooms, they'll either worship her or fear her. Don't let them destroy what makes her beautiful. I'd thought it was the medication talking, the fever. But now, with a Celestian diplomat talking about unusual energy signatures, a soft chime from my datapad interrupted my thoughts. A message from an unknown sender. I almost deleted it. Spam was dangerous on Nexus 9, but the subject line stopped me. Your daughter reminds me of someone I lost. I opened it. The message was short. Mr. Thompson, I apologize if I seemed forward today. Your daughter's condition struck a personal chord. My younger sister had something similar, though among Celestians, we called it something else. She died before she could receive proper treatment. I would like to help, if you'll allow it. No obligations, no debts, just one being helping another. Z. I read it 3 times. A Celestian, with a personal loss, with emotion. Either this was the most elaborate trap in the station's history, or something bigger was happening. I looked at Lily again. Her medication would run out in 6 days. Her chair's anti-grav unit would fail within the month. And Korvac was already talking about cutting shifts. Pride was indeed my best and worst quality. But pride wouldn't save my daughter. I typed a reply. Meridian Cafe, 3rd cycle. We'll be there. The next 2 days passed in a blur of work and worry. Korvac had me rebuilding a Vulak atmospheric processor, a job that required me to wear a full hazmat suit and still left me coughing up pink foam. But it paid an extra 50 credits. And 50 credits meant 2 weeks of medication for Lily. She seemed better since taking the Celestian nectar. Not healed. Nothing could truly heal crystalline syndrome. But better. She laughed more. Ate without complaint. Even managed to stand for a few seconds before the pain forced her back down. Tell me about the pretty lady again, she asked on the morning of the 3rd cycle. There's not much to tell. She helped us. End of story. That's not a very good story. Daddy, stories need beginnings, middles, and ends. And plot twists misses. Rodriguez used to say that every good story needs a plot twist. Mrs. Rodriguez had been Lily's teacher back on Earth, before everything went to hell, before the ships came and the bombs fell, and we became refugees in our own galaxy. Well, maybe we're still in the middle of the story, I said, helping her into her chair. Maybe the plot twist is coming. I hope it's a good one, Lily said. Like in the stories where the monster turns out to be a friend. The Meridian Cafe was tucked away in a corner of Sector 7. The neutral zone, where different species could mingle without the strict hierarchies of the main station. It was run by an old Penthari named Grix, who'd lost 3 of his 4 eyes in some long-ago war, and didn't care who paid him as long as the credits were good. Zaratel was already there when we arrived, sitting in a booth designed to accommodate various anatomies. She'd dressed down, simple robes instead of diplomatic regalia, but she still drew stares from every patron. You came, she said, and I swear there was surprise in her voice. You said you had good tea, I replied, trying for casual and probably failing. She gestured with one of her upper arms for us to sit. A servobot appeared immediately, with a steaming pot of something that smelled like cinnamon and stardust. How are you feeling, Lily? Zaratel asked. Better. Your medicine is magic. Daddy says there's no such thing as magic, but I think he's wrong. Your daddy is both right and wrong, Zaratel said, pouring tea with 2 hands, while her other 2 rested on the table. There's no magic, but there are things science hasn't explained yet. Like you, for instance. I tensed. What about her? Relax, Mr. Thompson. I mean no harm. But surely you've noticed that your daughter is unique. She's a sick little girl, that's all. Zaratel's nebula eyes fixed on me. We both know that's not all. Before I could respond, Lily piped up. I can feel things. People's feelings. Daddy thinks I'm imagining it. But I'm not. You're sad. Really, really sad. But also empty. Like someone took all your feelings and put them in a box and locked it away. The cafe seemed to freeze. Even the servobot stopped moving. Zaratel stared at Lily with an expression I couldn't read. That's remarkably accurate, she finally said. It hurts, doesn't it? Lily continued, reaching out with one small hand to touch Zaratel's. Being empty. I felt empty after Mommy died. Like all the color went away. Yes, Zaratel whispered. Exactly like that. I watched, stunned, as something shifted in the Celestian's perfect features. For just a moment, she looked vulnerable, lost. Then the mask snapped back into place. Your daughter has a gift, Mr. Thompson. Among my people, we call it resonance. The ability to connect with others on an emotional level that transcends species barriers. It's extraordinarily rare. And dangerous? I asked. Potentially, there are those who would use such ability for their own ends, and others who would fear it. Why are you telling us this? She was quiet for a long moment, all four hands wrapping around her teacup. Because 50 cycles ago, my sister had the same gift. The council discovered it and decided she was an anomaly, a threat to our perfect emotional control. They tried to correct her. The procedure killed her. She was 8 cycles old. I'm 6, Lily announced, as if this was very important information. Yes, Zaratel said softly. So was Veritel when she first showed signs. So you're trying to save Lily because you couldn't save your sister? Perhaps. Or perhaps I'm trying to save what my species is losing. We're dying. Mr. Thompson. Not quickly, not obviously, but dying nonetheless. We've suppressed our emotions for so long that we've forgotten how to truly live. Birth rates declining, art disappearing, music becoming mathematics. We're becoming exactly what we sought to be, perfect and empty. What does that have to do with us? Your daughter's resonance might be the key to understanding what we've lost. Not to experiment on, she added quickly, seeing my expression. To learn from, to remember what it feels like to feel. And in exchange, I help her. Medical treatment, protection, education, a future beyond this station. It was too good to be true. Everything on Nexus 9 was too good to be true. What's the catch? The catch is that others will notice. My people. The Craven. Maybe even species we haven't considered. A human with resonance is unprecedented. It challenges everything we believe about your species' place in the hierarchy. You mean it proves we're not as inferior as everyone thinks? It proves you're superior in ways we never imagined. And that, Mr. Thompson, terrifies them. I looked at Lily, who was now doodling on a napkin with a stylus Zaratel had produced from somewhere. My little girl, who might be the key to humanity's redemption or its final destruction. I need time to think. Of course. But Mr. Thompson, Marcus, time is one thing we don't have much of. The symptoms of crystalline syndrome align remarkably with early-stage resonance emergence. The pain, the fragility, the sensitivity to stimuli. Your daughter isn't sick. She's evolving. And without proper guidance, that evolution will kill her. The words hit like a physical blow. You're saying the disease isn't real. I'm saying it might not be a disease at all. When did the symptoms start? 2 years ago, right after Sarah. I couldn't finish. Right after her mother died. When her emotional trauma was at its peak. When her resonance would naturally emerge as a survival mechanism. Everything clicked into place. The timing. The way Lily could sense things. The way Sarah had known, somehow, that our daughter was special. If you're right, I said slowly, if this resonance is what's making her sick, can you cure it? Not cure, channel. Teach her to control it instead of letting it control her. But it won't be easy, and it won't be safe. There are those among my people who would see her, as I saw my sister, an anomaly to be corrected. Daddy, Lily said suddenly, looking up from her drawing. I want to learn. The empty lady needs help, and I want to help her. I looked at what she'd drawn. It was crude, childish, but unmistakable. 3 figures holding hands, a man, a little girl, and a 4-armed woman. Above them, she'd drawn stars. Okay, I said, the word feeling like jumping off a cliff. We'll try. But the moment I think you're using her, experimenting on her, or putting her in danger, you'll kill me, Zaratel finished. Yes, I believe you would. Or try to. That's another thing that makes humans unique. Your willingness to fight impossible odds for those you love. She stood, all 4 arms moving in that graceful way. I'll send you instructions for our first session, and Mr. Thompson, thank you for trusting me. I don't trust you, I said honestly, but I trust that you loved your sister. That's enough for now. She smiled then. a real smile that transformed her face from beautiful to radiant. You're right. I did love her. I'd forgotten what that felt like until your daughter reminded me. Perhaps that's her true gift, not just feeling emotions, but awakening them in others. As we left the cafe, Lily tugged on my sleeve. Daddy, is she going to be our friend? I don't know, Lilybean, maybe. I think she will be. I can feel it. She's not empty anymore. She's filling up with something new. With what? Lily smiled, that brilliant smile that made all the struggles worthwhile. Hope, Daddy. She's filling up with hope. That night, as I tucked Lily into bed in our cramped quarters, she asked me a question that stopped me cold. Daddy, do you think Mommy knew about what I am? I sat on the edge of her bed, remembering Sarah's final days. The way she'd insisted on no artificial life support. The way she'd made me promise to let her go when the time came. The way she'd whispered something to Lily that had made our daughter cry, but also nod with understanding. Yeah, I said finally. I think she knew, and I think she'd be proud of you for wanting to help others. Even if it's dangerous. Especially then. Your mom believed that the biggest risk in life was not taking any risks at all. Lily yawned, her eyes already drooping. Tell me a story about her, a happy one. So I did. I told her about the time Sarah had stood up to a craven overseer who was harassing human workers. How she'd used nothing but words and courage to shame him into backing down. How the humans had looked at her like she was a superhero. She was brave, Lily murmured, half asleep. The bravest person I ever knew. Until now, Lily said. Now you know Zaratel. She's brave too, standing up to her people for her sister. As my daughter drifted off to sleep, I stood by our small window, looking out at the stars beyond the station. Somewhere out there, Earth still spun, wounded but not dead. Humanity endured, even if we'd been humiliated and scattered. But maybe, just maybe, my fragile little girl held the key to something greater than revenge or redemption. Maybe she held the key to transformation, not just for us, but for the entire galaxy. The door chimed softly. A message on my datapad. Instructions from Zaratel for tomorrow's session, along with a short note. Change begins with a single act of kindness. Your daughter showed me kindness when she recognized my pain. Let me return the favor. Together, we might just change everything. I looked back at Lily, sleeping peacefully despite the weight of destiny on her small shoulders. My daughter, my miracle, my hope. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new dangers. But tonight, for the first time in 2 years, I allowed myself to believe that maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. The biggest changes, Sarah used to say, always started with the smallest acts of courage. And tomorrow, we would be courageous. Part 2. The Celestian Secret. The first training session was held in Zaratel's private quarters in the diplomatic sector, a place I'd never imagined entering. The security scan alone took 20 minutes, with craven guards eyeing us like we were bombs about to explode. Maybe we were. Why do they let us through? Lily asked, as we entered the pristine corridors, where everything gleamed with that particular shine of power and credits. Because I requested it, Zaratel said, meeting us at her door. Today she wore simpler robes, deep blue that seemed to shift with her movements. And even the craven respect diplomatic immunity, for now. Her quarters were nothing like I'd expected. Instead of the cold, calculated perfection I'd associated with Celestians, the space was filled with what could only be called organized chaos. Strange instruments lined the walls, some musical, others scientific. Holographic star charts competed for space with actual paper books, rare beyond measure. And in the center of it all, a small shrine with a hologram of a young Celestian girl. Zaratel, Lily said immediately, walking toward the shrine without hesitation. She looked sad. She was taken the day after that image was captured, Zaratel said softly. For correction. I watched my daughter reach out toward the hologram, then stop. Can I? Yes. Lily's small fingers passed through the light, and something extraordinary happened. The hologram flickered, shifted, and suddenly, the young Celestian was smiling. Not a programmed smile, but something that seemed to come from within the image itself. How did you? Zaratel started, then stopped, all four hands trembling slightly. I didn't do anything, Lily said. I just remembered what my mommy looked like when she smiled, and I shared it with her. That's impossible. It's just a hologram, light and data. Everything's just light and data if you look close enough, Lily said with the casual wisdom that sometimes made me forget she was only 6. Even feelings. They're just electricity in our brains, right? So why can't I share electricity with other electricity? Zaratel sank into a chair designed for her physiology, her lower arms wrapping around herself while her upper arms covered her face. For a moment, I thought she was having some kind of breakdown. Then I heard it, a sound I'd never thought I'd hear from a Celestian. She was laughing, not the calculated sound they sometimes made for diplomatic purposes, but real, genuine, chaotic laughter. Your daughter, she gasped between laughs, just explained in one sentence what our greatest scientists have been trying to understand for 1,000 cycles. I did. Lily looked pleased but confused. Resonance isn't about emotion, Zaratel said, composing herself. It's about connection, the fundamental connectivity of all consciousness. You don't feel others' emotions. You recognize that their emotions and yours are part of the same universal experience. Like how all the stars are different but they're all still burning, Lily asked. Exactly like that. The training began simply. Zaratel had Lily sit in the center of the room while she activated various devices that monitored energy fields, brain waves, and something she called consciousness particles. I want you to think about someone you love, Zaratel instructed. Picture them clearly in your mind. Daddy, Lily said immediately, and I felt my chest tighten. The monitors went crazy. Waves of golden light emanated from my daughter, filling the room with warmth. But more than that, I felt it, her love, pure and unconditional, washing over me like a tide. Remarkable, Zaratel breathed. The range, the intensity. Mr. Thompson, what do you feel? Like I'm seeing myself through her eyes, I said, my voice rough. Like I'm worth something. You are worth everything, Lily said firmly. You work so hard and you never complain and you tell the best stories even when you're tired and you always make sure I eat first even when you're hungry and… Okay, sweetheart, I said, wiping my eyes. I get it. Now, Zaratel said, I want you to think about someone who makes you angry. Lily's face scrunched up. Drax, he's mean. The golden light shifted to red, not violent but assertive. The temperature in the room rose slightly. But, Lily continued, he's also scared. Scared, I scoffed. That privileged little… His father hits him, Lily said quietly. When he doesn't act strong enough. I felt it when he was being mean to us. His fear tastes like copper and sounds like breaking glass. The room went silent. Zaratel and I exchanged glances. You can sense all of that from a brief encounter, Zaratel asked. It's louder when people are upset. Their feelings leak out everywhere, like when Daddy's coffee cup has a crack and drips on the table. This is why the syndrome affects you, Zaratel said, understanding dawning on her face. You're constantly receiving input from everyone around you. Your body interprets it as attack, as invasion, and responds by becoming fragile, trying to break rather than bear the weight. So how do we fix it? I asked. We don't fix it. We teach her to filter, to control the flow. Zaratel moved to a cabinet and pulled out a small device that looked like a circlet made of crystallized starlight. This is a resonance dampener. My sister wore one. It didn't save her, but it might help Lily learn control. She placed it gently on my daughter's head. Immediately, Lily's whole body relaxed. "Oh," she breathed. "It's quiet. It's so quiet." "How does it feel?" I asked, concerned. "Like when you put your head under water in the bath. Everything's muffled and soft." She looked up at me with wonder. "Is this how everyone else feels all the time?" "Most people. Yes," Zaratel said. "But you're not most people. This is just training wheels. Eventually, you'll learn to create your own filters, your own boundaries." Over the next weeks, we fell into a routine. Every third day, we'd visit Zaratel for training. Lily learned to dial her resonance up and down, to focus it like a beam or spread it like a net. She learned to shield herself from the overwhelming emotions of others while still maintaining her incredible empathy. And something else was happening. Zaratel was changing. At first, it was subtle. A genuine smile here, a spontaneous laugh there. But as Lily worked with her, sharing memories of joy and sorrow, love and loss, the Celestian began to thaw. It was like watching ice melt in reverse time-lapse. Slow, then sudden. "You're healing her," I said to Lily one evening as we returned to our quarters. "No," Lily said thoughtfully. "I'm just reminding her that she was never really broken. Just frozen." But not everyone was happy about the changes. The message came on a workday, flashing priority red on my datapad. Korvac wanted to see me immediately. I found him in his office, all 6 of his Panthari eyes focused on me with an expression I'd never seen before. Fear. "You need to stop," he said without preamble. "Stop what?" "Whatever you're doing with the Celestian. Word's spreading. The Craven are noticing. Commander Thaxor specifically." My blood ran cold. Thaxor controlled the station's security forces, the trade licenses, the very air we breathed. "We're not doing anything illegal." "Legal doesn't matter when you're human," Korvac said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I like you, Marcus. You're a good worker. But I like living more. Your position here is terminated, effective immediately." "Korvac, please, I need this job. Lily needs—" "What Lily needs is to disappear before she attracts more attention." He transferred a credit chip across the desk. "Severance pay? 2 weeks. That's more than regulations require." This is because of Drax, isn't it? Because Lily stood up to him. This is because a human child is displaying abilities that challenge the natural order. Do you know what the Craven did to the last species that challenged them? The Urathi. I knew. Everyone knew. The Urathi homeworld was now an asteroid field. They wouldn't, not over one little girl. They've done worse for less. Korvac's eyes were sad now. "Take your daughter and run, Marcus. Leave the station. Leave the sector if you can. Because what's coming, I don't want to watch it happen to her." I left his office in a daze, the credit chip burning in my pocket. 2 weeks of pay. Enough for maybe a month of Lily's medication if I stopped eating. Not enough for passage off the station. When I got home, Lily was drawing at our small table, the resonance dampener on her head dimming her abilities, but not her spirit. "Daddy, look." She held up her drawing, a picture of the 3 of us, her, me, and Zaratel, standing in front of Earth. "I dreamed this last night. We were home, and everything was better." "That's beautiful, sweetheart." "You're upset," she said, tilting her head. "Even with the dampener, I can feel it. Did something bad happen?" "I lost my job." Her face fell. "Because of me." "No," I lied. "Because Korvac's an idiot." "Daddy, lying makes your aura turn gray." I sighed. "Okay. Yes. Because of you. Because people are scared of what you can do." Should I stop? Should I pretend to be normal? I knelt beside her, taking her small hands in mine. "You couldn't be normal if you tried, Lily Bean, and I wouldn't want you to be. Even if it means trouble." "Especially then. Your mom used to say that the only normal people are the ones you don't know very well." She giggled, then grew serious. Zaratel says I'm getting stronger. That soon I won't need the dampener at all. She says I might even be able to help other people with resonance. Other people have this? Not yet, but they will. She says it's evolution, that humans are changing, adapting, that the war didn't break us, it triggered something. Before I could respond, our door chimed. At this hour, that was never good news. I opened it to find Zaratel, but not as I'd ever seen her. Her usual calm was shattered, her forearms gesticulating wildly, her skin flickering between colors like a broken hologram. You need to leave. Now. What's happening? The council knows. About Lily. About what I've been doing. They're sending a correction squad. A what? The same unit that killed my sister. They'll be here in 6 hours. Then we run, all 3 of us. I can't. My diplomatic status. My tracking implants. But I can buy you time. She pulled out a data pad and a credit chip. This is enough for passage to the outer rings. There's a human colony on Kepler Station. They won't follow you there. Come with us. Remove the implants. We'll figure it out. She smiled sadly. You'd take a Celestian with you after everything my people have done. You're not your people. You're Zaratel. You're family. The word hung in the air between us. Family. When had that happened? When had this alien woman become part of our tiny, broken unit? She started, then stopped. Her lower arms reached out and pulled Lily into a 4-armed hug. I can't. But I can do this. She placed her upper hands on Lily's head. And suddenly, my daughter gasped. Light exploded from both of them. Not golden or blue, but something entirely new. When it faded, Lily's eyes were different, still green, but with swirls of nebula colors at the edges. What did you do? I demanded. I gave her my knowledge. Everything I know about resonance, about control, about the universe. She won't be able to access it all at once. It will come as she grows, but she'll never be helpless. That's illegal, I breathed. Knowledge transfer between species is punishable by death, yes, which is why you need to leave before they discover it. An alarm began blaring through the station. Not the normal shift change or emergency drill. This was something I'd only heard once before, during a quarantine breach. Lockdown, Zaratel said. They're moving faster than I thought. Go. Service Tunnel 7. I've disabled the sensors. Zaratel. Go. I grabbed Lily and our emergency bag, always packed since Sarah died. As we reached the door, Lily pulled free and ran back to Zaratel. You're not empty anymore, she said, hugging the Celestian's legs. You're full of love. Don't let them take it away again. I won't, Zaratel promised. Now run, live. Show them what humans are really capable of. We ran. The service tunnels were a maze of pipes and cables, designed for maintenance bots and desperate people. I carried Lily when her legs gave out, her condition flaring from the stress. Behind us, I could hear the station coming alive with search parties. Daddy, I can feel them, Lily whispered. The correction squad. They're wrong. Like someone took people and removed everything that makes them people. Don't think about them. Think about Earth. Think about home. I can't remember Earth. Then I'll remember for both of us. We emerged 3 levels down, in the loading docks where automated cargo ships came and went. The passage Zaratel had booked was on a human freighter, the last hope. The irony wasn't lost on me. But between us and the ship stood Commander Thaxor and 6 Craven soldiers. Going somewhere, human? We have passage booked. Legal passage. Oh, I'm not here to stop you from leaving. I'm here to collect the girl. She's been classified as a biological weapon. The Celestian Council and the Craven Empire have reached an agreement. She comes with us. You can go. No. No, you'd die for this defective offspring. She's not defective, she's perfect. And yes, I'd die for her. But more importantly, I'll kill for her. Thaxor laughed. That clicking sound that usually meant someone was about to die. You, a human against 7 craven warriors. Daddy, Lily whispered. Let me help. No, sweetheart, stay behind me. Trust me, please. Zaratel showed me something. Before I could stop her, she stepped forward, removing the resonance dampener from her head. What happened next was beautiful and terrible. Lily didn't attack them. She shared with them. Every moment of love I'd ever shown her. Every sacrifice. Every bedtime story when I was exhausted. Every meal I'd skipped so she could eat. Every tear I'd hidden. Every fear I'd swallowed. But more than that, she shared their own memories, pulled from deep within them, the moments when they'd felt love. A craven mother's first embrace. A father's proud click at a successful hunt. A mate's gentle touch. The craven soldiers fell to their knees, overwhelmed by emotions their species had suppressed for generations. And Thaxor was crying. I didn't even know Craven could cry. But there he was, black tears streaming from his 4 eyes. My son, he whispered. I've become my father. I've become the thing I hated. It's not too late, Lily said gently. It's never too late to choose love over fear. The correction squad is coming, Thaxor said, his voice broken. They'll kill her. Kill all of you. Then help us. I can't. My conditioning. You can, Lily said, and I felt her push with her resonance. Not forcing, just showing him the possibility. You're stronger than your conditioning. Love is always stronger. Thaxor stood slowly, his massive frame shaking. Then he turned to his soldiers. Let them pass. Sir, one managed to say through his own tears. Let them pass. And if the correction squad asks, we never saw them. Commander, that's treason. That's choice, Thaxor corrected. Maybe the first real choice I've ever made. We ran for the ship. As the airlock sealed behind us, I saw Thaxor facing down the tunnel we'd come from, his weapons drawn. He was going to buy us time. Will he be okay? Lily asked. I don't know, sweetheart. I hope so. He's not mean. He's just hurt. The Last Hope was exactly what its name suggested. A barely functional freighter held together by prayer and duct tape. The captain, a grizzled human named Walsh, didn't ask questions when I handed him Zaratel's credit chip. Kepler Station. As fast as you can. Fast isn't really this bucket's strong suit, but we'll get you there. As the ship pulled away from Nexus 9, Lily and I stood at the small observation port, watching the station shrink. Somewhere in there, Zaratel was facing the Council. Thaxor was probably fighting the correction squad. And we were running. Daddy, are we cowards for leaving? No, sweetheart. Sometimes running is the bravest thing you can do. It means you're choosing to live, to fight another day. Will we see Zaratel again? I hope so. I know so, Lily said with that certainty only children can manage. She's part of our family now, and family always finds a way back to each other. She pulled out her drawing pad and began sketching. This time, it was Zaratel standing against shadowy figures, her 4 arms spread wide, protecting something behind her. Us. I realized. She was protecting us. She loves us, Lily said simply, and love makes people do impossible things. 3 days into our journey, Captain Walsh found me in the cargo hold where I'd been trying to repair an old loader to earn our keep. You might want to see this, he said, handing me a datapad. It was a news feed from Nexus 9. Diplomatic incident rock station as Celestian ambassador goes rogue. The article described how Zaratel had allegedly attacked a correction squad, using illegal emotional manipulation to incapacitate them. She was now missing. Her diplomatic status revoked, branded a traitor to her species. But it was the last line that made my heart race. Commander Thaxor of the Craven Security Force was found dead at the scene, apparently having fought to prevent the correction squad from pursuing human refugees. He died for us, I said numbly. Looks like it, Walsh said. Must have been some kid you've got to inspire that kind of sacrifice from a Craven. She doesn't inspire sacrifice. She inspires love. The sacrifice. That's just what love makes you do. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. The knowledge Zaratel had given her was starting to surface, and with it came understanding of just how much danger we were in. Daddy, I can feel them searching for us. The Council, the Craven Empire, even some humans who think I'm an abomination. Let them search. We'll keep running. But for how long? How long can we run? As long as it takes. What if we stopped running? What if we fought back? Lily, we're two humans against the galaxy. No, she said, her eyes swirling with those nebula colors. We're two humans with the power to make others feel, to remind them what they've lost, to show them what they could be. That's not an army. It's better than an army. It's an idea. And Zaratel taught me that ideas are the only things that can't be killed. She was right. Of course. My 6-year-old daughter with bones like glass and a heart like fire was right. We couldn't run forever. Eventually, we'd have to make a stand. When we get to Kepler Station, I said, we'll start looking for others. Others like you. Others who understand. Others who resonate, Lily agreed. And then we change everything. Like Zaratel said we would. Like your mother knew we would. Lily curled against me, her small body fitting perfectly in the curve of my arm. Tell me about her again. Tell me about Mom. So I did. I told her about Sarah's laugh, her determination, her absolute faith that humanity's greatest days were ahead, not behind. I told her about the woman who looked at a broken soldier and saw a husband, who looked at a dying Earth and saw hope. She would have loved Zaratel, Lily said sleepily. Why do you think that? Because Mom loved anyone who loved us, and Zaratel loves us enough to lose everything. As my daughter slept, I stared out at the stars streaming past. Somewhere behind us, Nexus 9 spun on, probably already forgetting about the human mechanic and his sick daughter. Somewhere, Zaratel was running or fighting or maybe already captured. Somewhere, Commander Thaxor's son was processing the death of a father who'd finally chosen love over fear. And somewhere ahead, Kepler Station waited. A new beginning. A chance to stop running and start building. The Last Hope's engines hummed their broken rhythm, carrying us toward an uncertain future. But for the first time since Sarah died, I wasn't afraid. Because Lily was right. We had something more powerful than weapons or ships or armies. We had the ability to make others feel, to remind them of their humanity, or whatever equivalent their species possessed, to show them that connection was possible, that love could transcend species and prejudice and fear. The war for the galaxy wouldn't be fought with plasma cannons and fleet battles. It would be fought with a little girl's smile, with shared pain and joy, with the revolutionary idea that feeling wasn't weakness, but strength. And we were going to win. Not because we were stronger or smarter or better armed, but because we had something the galaxy had forgotten it needed. We had heart. Part 3. The Humiliation Games. Kepler Station was nothing like the stories. The human colony we'd expected turned out to be a glorified refugee camp. 36 habitation modules held together by desperation and expired emergency supplies. The 1,000 humans living there looked at us with hollow eyes when we disembarked from the Last Hope. Welcome to paradise, Captain Walsh said dryly, as we gathered our meager belongings. Don't let the recruitment vids fool you. This is where humans go to disappear, not thrive. An elderly woman approached us, her back bent from years of labor but her eyes sharp. New arrivals need to register with the Council of Survivors. That's HAB Module 3. Council of Survivors, I asked. That's what we call ourselves. Sounds better than people waiting to die, doesn't it? She looked down at Lily, who was back in her mobility chair. Sick kid, we don't have much in the way of medical facilities. We'll manage, I said. That's what they all say. Then winter cycle hits and the heating units fail. She shuffled away, muttering about foolish optimists. The Council of Survivors turned out to be 5 humans, trying to manage 1,000 problems with 0 resources. Their leader, a former Earth Navy captain named Rivera, looked at our registration forms with tired eyes. Marcus Thompson, mechanic. That's useful at least. We've got more broken equipment than working. And the girl, my daughter, Lily. Can she work? She's 6. I've seen younger pulling salvage duty. Everyone contributes on Kepler. She's sick, Rivera sighed. Then you'll need to earn double rations to cover her. Non-contributors don't get full support. Station rules. I felt my anger rising, but Lily touched my hand. Through her resonance, I felt her calmness, her understanding. These people weren't cruel. They were scared, barely surviving. I understand, I said. Where do I start? Maintenance Bay 7. Report to Chief Harker. He'll put you to work. We were assigned a single room in HAB Module 12, barely larger than a closet. The walls were thin metal. The air recycler wheezed, and the single window showed nothing but the void. But it was shelter. It's cozy, Lily said, trying to be positive. It's a box, I replied, then caught myself. But you're right. It's our cozy box. That night, as Lily slept, I accessed the station's information network. What I found made my blood run cold. Kepler Station wasn't just a refugee camp. It was a trap. The station hosted something called the Humiliation Games, every solar rotation. Humans and other lesser species could compete for prizes, citizenship upgrades, medical treatment, passage to better worlds. But the mortality rate was 90%. The games were broadcast across the galaxy as entertainment, proof of superior species dominance over the primitives. The next games were in 3 weeks. First prize was 1 million credits and A-class citizenship anywhere in the galaxy. Enough to get Lily proper treatment, a real home, a future. I was still staring at the screen when a message appeared. No sender ID. Just 2 words. She's coming. My heart leaped. Zaratel. It had to be. But the next morning brought different news. Chief Harker, a bear of a man with prosthetic arms from some past accident, handed me a work roster that would have been challenging for 3 people. This is impossible, I said. These repairs would take weeks each. Then you'd better work fast. Non-contributors. Don't get full support, I heard. It's worse than that, Harker said quietly. They get volunteered for the games. Involuntarily. That's slavery. That's survival. The station needs the entertainment revenue to keep running. Someone has to participate. Better volunteers than conscripts. But when there aren't enough volunteers... I looked back toward our quarters where Lily was resting. How long before they come for her? Sick kid, no work history. Maybe a month, maybe less. Unless I volunteer myself. Harker's expression softened slightly. Don't. I've seen 100 humans think they could beat the games. They all had families to save. They all died anyway. But what choice did I have? That evening, I found Lily practicing with her resonance. The knowledge Zaratel had given her surfacing in unexpected ways. She was making patterns in the air with emotional energy, visible only to those who could sense such things. Daddy, there are others here, others like me. Other resonance. Not exactly, but people who are close. Who could be, if someone showed them how? She looked up at me with those green eyes that now held galaxies. I could teach them. That's dangerous, and sweetheart, if the wrong people found out. The wrong people already know. I can feel watchers. Electronic eyes. They're studying us. Before I could respond, our door chimed. Nobody visited in the evening. That was when people locked their doors and pretended the universe didn't exist. I opened it to find 3 figures, 2 humans I didn't recognize, and between them, wearing a hooded cloak that did nothing to hide her 4 arms, stood Zaratel. "Inside! Quickly!" one of the humans said. I recognized her voice. Rivera, the council leader. They rushed in, Zaratel immediately dropping to embrace Lily with all 4 arms. "You're here," Lily squealed. "I knew you'd come." "I couldn't stay away," Zaratel said, her voice rough with emotion. "Though I've brought trouble with me." "What kind of trouble?" I asked. Rivera answered. "The kind that ends with Celestian warships surrounding the station. They'll be here in 10 days. They want her," she pointed at Zaratel. "And her," pointing at Lily. "Then we run again," I said. "No," Zaratel said firmly. "No more running. That's why I'm here. The humiliation games aren't just entertainment. They're a recruitment tool. The victors don't just win prizes. They win the attention of the underground." "The what?" The 3rd figure, a young man with scars across his face, spoke up. "The Human Resistance Network. We've been building for years, hidden in the edges of known space. Every victor of the games gets an invitation, but in 10 years, only 12 humans have survived to receive it." "You want me to enter the games?" "No," Zaratel said. "I want us to enter the games." "They allow teams?" "Family units," Rivera explained. "Up to 3 members. It's supposed to increase the tragedy when they're forced to fight each other in the final rounds." "Absolutely not. I won't risk Lily." "Daddy," Lily interrupted. "I'm already at risk. We all are. At least this way. We're together." I looked between my daughter, wise beyond her years, and Zaratel, who had given up everything for us. "The games will kill us." "Maybe," Zaratel said. "But I've been studying them. Every victor had something the organizers didn't expect. Unusual skills, hidden weapons, unexpected alliances. We have something better." "What?" "We have Lily, a human child who can make anyone feel anything. Do you understand what that means in an arena designed to showcase cruelty?" "She'll destroy it," the scarred man said. "From the inside out. Like a virus of empathy." "I won't use my daughter as a weapon." "Not a weapon," Lily said quietly. "A cure. The galaxy is sick. Daddy, sick with hate and fear and loneliness. Maybe I can help heal it." 3 days later, we stood in the registration office for the humiliation games. The Craven administrator looked at us with undisguised amusement. "A human male, past prime, a Celestian traitor, and a crippled human child. This will be the shortest game in history." "We'll see," I said, signing the forms that might be our death warrants. "Oh, I'm sure we will. The viewing audiences love a good massacre, especially when children are involved. Tell me, have you explained to her what happens in the games?" "She knows." Does she know about the feast, where contestants must fight over medical supplies while starving? Does she know about the hunt, where previous victors are brought back to eliminate the weak? Does she know about the choice, where family units must decide who lives and who dies? "She knows enough," Zaratel said, her 4 hands clenched into fists. "Celestian, your emotional control seems compromised. How fascinating. The audiences will love watching you break completely." As we left, Lily tugged on my sleeve. "He's scared of us." "What?" "The administrator. Under all that mean, he's terrified. He can feel something changing, and he doesn't understand it." "Good," I said. "Let them be scared for once." The week before the games passed in a blur of preparation. Zaratel trained us in combat techniques from a dozen worlds. Rivera's people smuggled us extra rations to build our strength. The scarred man, who finally introduced himself as Cole, taught us about the arena's layout. It changes every game, but the basics remain. Multiple biomes, environmental hazards, hidden caches of supplies. The first day is chaos. Everyone fighting for position, for resources. That's when most die. So we avoid the fighting, I said. You can't. Participation in the bloodbath is mandatory. Anyone who doesn't engage is eliminated by the arena itself. Eliminated how? Orbital bombardment, usually. Very spectacular. Great ratings. I looked at Lily, practicing her resonance with Zaratel, my little girl, preparing for war. There has to be another way. There is, Cole said. Win, survive, join the underground, help us prepare for the real war. Which is the one where humanity stops apologizing for existing. The night before the games, I couldn't sleep. I found Zaratel standing by our small window, all four arms wrapped around herself. Scared, I asked. Terrified. Is this what fear feels like to humans? This crushing weight? Pretty much. You get used to it. I don't want to get used to it. But I don't want to lose it either. It means I have something worth losing. She turned to me, her nebula eyes shimmering. Marcus, if something happens to me in there, nothing will happen. Listen, please. If something happens to me, my knowledge, everything I gave to Lily, it includes coordinates, safe places, people who will help. She'll know when she's ready. Zaratel, she pressed one finger to my lips, while another hand touched my cheek. I need to say this. These weeks with you and Lily have been the first time I've felt alive in 40 cycles. You gave me back my heart. Both of you. You saved us first. No, we saved each other. That's what family does. I pulled her into an embrace, feeling all four of her arms wrap around me. She was warm, warmer than I'd expected, and she smelled like starlight and cinnamon. We're going to survive this, I said. All of us. All of us. The morning of the games came too soon. We were transported to the arena, a massive structure floating in space, visible from Kepler Station. Hundreds of thousands of beings would watch from the safety of their homes as we fought for our lives. The holding area was filled with contestants, 60 beings from lesser species, humans, Urathi survivors, Penthari outcasts, even a few Vulak who'd lost their clan status. All desperate, all deadly in their own way. Ladies, gentlemen, and varied beings. A voice boomed through the area. Welcome to the 412th Humiliation Games. Your suffering is our entertainment. Your deaths, our validation. Let the games begin. The floor beneath us disappeared. We fell, all 60 of us, into the arena proper. Anti-gravity fields slowed our descent, depositing us in a massive circular chamber. In the center, a pyramid of supplies, weapons, food, medical equipment, survival gear. Everything we'd need to survive. Everything worth dying for. Stay together, I shouted as chaos erupted. A Urathi charged toward the pyramid, only to be cut down by another human with a plasma blade. A Penthari used its multiple arms to grab supplies while fighting off two attackers. Blood, in various colors, began painting the floor. This way, Zaratel said, guiding us not toward the center but toward the edge, where basic packs lay scattered. Less valuable, less contested. But we couldn't avoid conflict entirely. A human, scarred and desperate, came at us with a metal rod. I moved to defend, but Lily stepped forward. Stop, she said, and pushed with her resonance. The man froze, the rod falling from nerveless fingers. His eyes widened as Lily shared with him a single memory, a child's laughter. His child. I realized. Someone he'd lost. I'm sorry, he whispered, backing away. I'm so sorry. Form a group, Lily said urgently. Others who don't want to kill. Protect each other. The man nodded and moved away, but not to attack. He began pulling other humans back from the carnage, speaking rapidly. The games don't allow alliances, Zaratel warned. They don't allow formal alliances, I corrected. But they can't stop people from choosing not to kill each other. We grabbed 3 basic packs and retreated as the bloodbath continued. 20 beings died in the first 10 minutes. The announcer's voice provided gleeful commentary on each death, each act of violence. But something else was happening. The humans Lily had influenced were spreading her message. Small groups formed, beings choosing defense over offense. It wasn't peace, but it was resistance. "Fascinating," the announcer said. "It appears some contestants are displaying unusual behavior. How long before survival instinct overcomes this momentary weakness?" We found shelter in what looked like an abandoned cityscape, towers of rusted metal reaching toward an artificial sky. The arena was massive, kilometers across, with different environments blending into each other. "We need to find water," Zaratel said, checking our supplies. "Food, better shelter." "We need to find others," Lily said. "The more people I can reach, the harder it becomes for them to make us fight." "That's not how the games work, sweetheart." "Then we change how they work." That night, as we huddled in a destroyed building, the arena's sky displayed the faces of the dead. 24 beings gone on the first day, but 36 survived, more than usual. "They're adapting," Zaratel observed. "The contestants. They're learning from what Lily did." "Good," I said. "Let them learn that cooperation beats competition." "The game makers won't allow it. They'll force conflict." As if in response to her words, the ground began to shake. In the distance, we could see one of the environmental zones collapsing, forcing any survivors there to flee toward others. "Tomorrow will be worse," Zaratel said. "Then we'd better be ready." Lily curled between us, her small body shaking not from cold, but from the emotional resonance of so much death. She'd felt each one, experienced their final moments. "I couldn't save them all," she whispered. "You saved more than anyone else ever has," I told her. "That's enough for today." Is it really enough? I didn't have an answer for that. How could I tell my 6-year-old daughter that sometimes survival was the best you could hope for? But Zaratel did. "Every life saved is a victory against those who would see us all dead. Every moment of compassion in this arena of cruelty is a rebellion. You're not just playing their game, little star. You're rewriting the rules." "I like that," Lily said sleepily. "Rewriting the rules." The second day brought new horrors. The game makers released predators into the arena, genetically modified creatures designed to hunt and terrify. But they hadn't counted on Lily's ability. When a pack of hunters cornered us in the metallic forest, Lily didn't run. She reached out with her resonance, touching the primitive minds of the creatures. They weren't evil, just programmed. And programming could be overwritten with something stronger. "They're lonely," she said, tears streaming down her face. "They were made to kill, but they just want to belong." The lead hunter, a massive beast with too many teeth and eyes, lowered its head to Lily's outstretched hand. For a moment, predator and prey connected. Then the pack turned and loped away, hunting no one. "Impossible!" I heard through a hidden speaker. The game makers were watching directly. "Nothing's impossible," Lily said to the sky. "You just lack imagination." By the fourth day, only 20 contestants remained. But something unprecedented was happening. They'd formed 3 groups, each avoiding the others, focusing on survival rather than elimination. The ratings were plummeting. The audiences wanted blood, not cooperation. That's when they announced the feast. "Attention, contestants! Medical supplies and food will be available at the original entry point. Enough for 5 beings only. Let the feast begin." "It's a trap," Zaratel said immediately. "Of course it's a trap. But we need those medical supplies." I looked at Lily, who'd been growing weaker. The resonance took a toll, and without proper medication, her crystalline syndrome was reasserting itself. "We all go," Lily said firmly. "Everyone, all 20 of us." "That's not how—" "I know how it's supposed to work. I'm saying we do it differently." It took most of the day, but Lily did it, moving between the groups, sharing her vision, connecting beings who'd been trained to hate each other. By evening, all 20 survivors stood together at the edge of the entry point. The medical supplies sat in the center, gleaming and vital, enough for 5. The math was simple and cruel. "We share," Lily announced. "Divide it 20 ways." "That's not enough for anyone," a Yarathi protested. "It's enough if we work together, pool resources, help each other, survive together or die apart." "The child speaks wisdom," said an elderly Panthari. "I'm tired of their games. Let's show them what lesser species can accomplish together." We moved as one toward the supplies. No fighting, no competition, just beings helping beings. The arena's speakers crackled with fury. "This is not acceptable. You will fight or what?" I shouted at the sky. "You'll kill us. You're already trying to do that." "The rules must be followed." "We are following the rules," Zaratel said calmly. "We're competing. We're trying to survive. You never said we couldn't cooperate." The silence that followed was deafening. Then, the ground beneath the medical supplies opened up, swallowing them whole. "If you won't play properly, you don't get rewards." But Lily was smiling. "They're scared. They're actually scared of us." "Why?" the Yarathi asked. "Because we're showing the galaxy that their entertainment depends on our compliance. And we're not complying anymore." That night, the 20 of us camped together. Former enemies sharing stories, food, warmth. A human woman named Janet had medical training and helped with Lily's pain using traditional techniques. A Vulak shared its water purification knowledge. The elderly Panthari told stories of the time before the wars, when species mingled freely. "This is revolution," Cole had said. He was right. Not the violent kind, but something more dangerous. Beings choosing connection over conflict. "Tomorrow's day, 5, Zaratel said quietly. "The final day. They'll force an ending." "How?" "I don't know, but it will be devastating." She was right. The next morning, the arena began to shrink. The walls literally closing in, forcing us toward the center. Toxic gas filled the outer regions. The message was clear: fight or die together. "We could make a stand," someone suggested. "Die with dignity." "We're not dying," Lily said firmly. "Not today." "Little one, there's no other option." "There's always another option. Zaratel taught me that. Daddy showed me that. You all proved it by choosing not to fight. Now we choose to live." She stood, my fragile daughter with bones like glass, and walked to the exact center of the arena. Then, she did something I'd never seen before. She opened her resonance completely, not directed, not controlled, just open. Every being in the arena felt it. But more than that, every viewer watching felt it. Millions of souls across the galaxy suddenly experienced what we'd experienced. The fear, the desperation, the hope, the choice to be better. The arena's systems began failing, screens flickering, walls stuttering in their advance. The emotional feedback was overwhelming their circuits, their programming unable to process pure, unfiltered humanity. "Stop her!" someone screamed over the speakers. But who could stop a little girl sharing her heart with the universe? The walls froze, the gas dissipated, and in the silence that followed, Lily spoke. "We won," she said simply. "All of us. Because we chose not to lose ourselves." The arena doors opened, not one, all of them. "Congratulations," a different voice said over the speakers. Older, tired. "You've broken the humiliation games. All of you are victors. All of you are free to go." "Who are you?" I called out. "Someone who's been waiting for this moment for a very long time. The underground sends its regards. Transportation will arrive shortly." As we stood there, 20 beings from different worlds, I realized what had really happened. We hadn't just survived the games. We'd destroyed them. No one would ever watch again without remembering what they'd felt through Lily's resonance. The mirror she'd held up to the galaxy's cruelty. "You did it, little star," Zaratel said, all four arms embracing Lily. We did it, Lily corrected. All of us. Together. Mars, Part 4, The Revelation. The transport ships that arrived weren't what any of us expected. Sleek, black vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No emblems. No identification marks. Ghost ships piloted by people who didn't exist. Welcome to the real rebellion. The woman who greeted us said. She was human, but modified. Cybernetic eyes that saw in spectrums we couldn't imagine. Arms reinforced with alien alloys. I'm Commander Reeves. No relation, she added, glancing at me. Though all humans are family now, aren't they? We were loaded onto the ships along with the other survivors from the games. 20 beings who'd chosen cooperation over competition. 20 souls who'd broken the system simply by refusing to play by its rules. Where are we going? I asked as the ship lifted off. Somewhere that doesn't exist, Reeves replied. The underground isn't a place, Thompson. It's an idea. But ideas need homes. So we built one. Station Zero. You'll see. Lily sat between Zaratel and me, her small hand in mine. Two of Zaratel's hands holding her other side. She was exhausted from the games, from opening her resonance so completely, but she was also exhilarated. I can still feel them, she whispered. All those people who watched. They're different now, like I left a piece of myself in each of them. Is that safe? Zaratel asked, concern coloring her voice. Safe, Lily smiled tiredly. Nothing we do is safe, but it's necessary. The journey took 3 days through jump gates I didn't know existed. Following routes that weren't on any official charts, we traveled with the lights off, running silent, ghosts in the void. Station Zero materialized out of nothing. One moment empty space. The next, a massive structure that looked like it had been built from the corpses of 1,000 destroyed ships. Ugly, functional, hidden by technology I couldn't begin to understand. Perception filters, Reeves explained. Borrowed from the Celestians, improved by human ingenuity. You can't find what your brain won't let you see. The docking bay was chaos. Hundreds of beings of dozens of species, all working together. I saw humans and Urathi side by side, Penthari teaching Vulak, even a few Craven, their imperial markings burned away, choosing exile over empire. This is impossible, I breathed. This is necessity, Reeves corrected. The galaxy's power structure depends on us hating each other. So we chose love instead. Revolutionary, isn't it? We were assigned quarters that made our closet on Kepler look like a palace. 3 rooms, real beds. A window that showed the hidden station's sprawling expanse. This is too much, I started to say, but Reeves cut me off. Your daughter broke the humiliation games. She did in 5 days what we've been trying to do for 10 years. She deserves a lot more than 3 rooms. That evening, we were summoned to what they called the council chamber. It wasn't grand or imposing, just a round room with representatives from every species that had joined the underground. At the center stood a figure I recognized from history videos, Admiral Sarah Chen, the human who'd led Earth's last stand, who'd supposedly died when our fleet was destroyed. Reports of my death were propaganda, she said with a grim smile. The Celestian Council and the Craven Empire needed humanity to believe its heroes were gone. Hard to have hope without heroes. But you let us believe. I let humanity survive. Broken, but breathing. While I built this. She gestured to the station around us. A place where the revolution could grow. And now, thanks to your daughter, it's time to stop hiding. My daughter is 6 years old, I said firmly. She's not a weapon. No, Admiral Chen agreed. She's something far more dangerous. She's proof that humans aren't what the galaxy thinks we are, that we never were. She activated a holographic display, images of Lily in the arena, her resonance visible as waves of golden light, then charts, graphs, data I couldn't interpret. The crystalline syndrome isn't a disease. Dr. Yamazaki, the station's chief medical officer, explained. It's evolution, rapid, painful, but purposeful. Humans exposed to extreme trauma and alien environments are developing new capabilities. Your daughter is just the first to fully manifest. You're saying there are others, hundreds, maybe thousands, hidden among the refugee populations, dismissed as sick or broken. But they're not broken. They're becoming something new. Becoming what Zaratel asked. Bridges, Lily said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. That's what the knowledge you gave me says. Zaratel, humans are becoming bridges between all the species. That's why they fear us. Admiral Chen nodded slowly. The child understands better than most of my advisors. The Celestian Council and the Craven Empire maintain power through division. Species that can naturally connect, naturally empathize across biological boundaries. We're their worst nightmare. So what do you want from us? I asked. I want you to help us find the others. Train them. Build a network of resonance that can't be ignored or destroyed. And if we refuse, then you're free to go. We're not the Empire. We don't conscript. But Thompson, your daughter is already marked. The Celestian Council wants her. The Craven want her dead. Even some humans see her as an abomination. Where would you go? Before I could answer, alarms began blaring through the station. Red lights bathed everything in blood. What's happening? Zaratel demanded. Reeves pressed her hand to her ear, receiving reports through her implants. Her face went pale. Celestian warships. 3 of them. They found us. That's impossible, Admiral Chen said. The perception filters. They're not using normal sensors, Reeves interrupted. They're tracking something else. Something. She looked at Lily. Oh no. They're tracking me, Lily said calmly. My resonance. When I opened it completely in the arena, I became visible to them, like a lighthouse in the dark. Can you hide it? I asked desperately. I could, but I won't. She stood up, my fragile little girl with steel in her spine. I'm tired of hiding. Aren't you? The view screen activated, showing 3 Celestian vessels surrounded by the distinctive shimmer of Correction Squad escorts. But at the center of the lead ship, a familiar figure appeared on the communication channel. This is High Counselor Zetravel of the Celestian Authority. You will surrender the aberration and the traitor Zaratel immediately, or we will eliminate your entire station. Zetravel. Zaratel's name, but with the prefix of authority. I looked at our Celestian companion and saw recognition dawn in horror on her face. Mother, she whispered. The room erupted in chaos, but Lily's voice cut through it all. Let me talk to her. Absolutely not, I said. Daddy, she's Zaratel's mother. That means she's family, confused, angry family, but still family. That's not how it works. That's exactly how it works. Lily walked to the communication console. Hello, Grandmother Zetravel. The High Counselor's perfect composure cracked for just a moment. I am not your grandmother, aberration. You're Zaratel's mother. Zaratel is my mother now. That makes you my grandmother. It's simple math. Zaratel is a traitor who abandoned her species for primitive emotions. Zaratel is a daughter who chose love over emptiness, just like her sister would have. The temperature in the room dropped. Everyone felt it. The mention of Zaratel was like a psychic bomb. You dare speak of her? I speak of her because Zaratel loved her. Because you loved her too. Before they made you forget how to love. The clarity ritual does not make us forget. It makes us perfect. Perfect is empty. Perfect is dead. Your daughter Zaratel knew that. That's why they killed her. She was corrected. She was murdered, Zaratel said, stepping forward. Mother, you know this. Deep beneath all that conditioning, you know they killed your child for the crime of feeling. Feeling is weakness. Then, why are you angry? Lily asked innocently. Anger is a feeling. If you were truly perfect, you wouldn't care about any of this. The High Counselor was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was different, colder, more dangerous. You have 1 hour to surrender. If you do not comply, everyone on that station dies. The transmission cut. We need to evacuate, Admiral Chen said immediately. Get everyone to the escape pods. No, Lily said firmly. We're not running. Not anymore. Child, 3 Celestian warships aren't the real threat. The real threat is fear. They're terrified of what I represent, of what humanity is becoming. So, let's show them their right to be afraid. She looked at me, and in her eyes, I saw Sarah. My wife's determination. Her absolute faith that humanity's greatest strength was its heart. Daddy, remember what Mom used to say when they make you choose between your knees and your feet. Choose your feet, even if you fall, I finished. I'm choosing my feet. Then I'm standing with you. As am I, Zaratel said. Mother needs to remember what she's lost. What we've all lost. Admiral Chen studied us for a moment, then turned to her staff. Battle stations, but no offensive weapons. We're going to try something insane. Ma'am, we're going to let a 6-year-old girl save us all. The next hour was controlled chaos. The station's inhabitants prepared for battle, while Lily prepared for something else entirely. She sat in the center of the council chamber, Zaratel and I on either side of her, while the other game survivors formed a circle around us. I need you all to open yourselves, Lily said. Let me channel through you, like prisms splitting light. 1 resonance becomes 20 becomes hundreds. That could kill you, Dr. Yamazaki protested. Maybe, but doing nothing definitely kills everyone. The Urathi survivor from the game spoke up. The child saved us in the arena. I trust her to save us now. 1 by 1, the others agreed. 20 beings from different worlds, united by a shared experience of choosing cooperation over competition. The station shook as the Celestian ships took position. On the view screen, we could see their weapons charging. Enough firepower to turn Station Zero into atoms. This is your final warning, High Counselor Zetravel announced. Lily stood up. The others stood with her. And together, they opened their resonance. What happened next was beyond description, but I'll try. Light exploded from Lily. Not visible light, but emotional light. It spread through the 20 survivors, amplified and reflected, then burst through the station's hull like it wasn't even there. It hit the Celestian ships in waves. Every Celestian on those vessels, beings who'd undergone the clarity ritual to suppress all emotion, suddenly felt everything at once. Love, loss, joy, grief. The full spectrum of experience they'd traded for perfection. But more than that, they felt memories. Zaratel's memories of her sister, of her mother before the complete clarity, of a time when Celestians created art and music and poetry. Stop! High Counselor Zetravel commanded, but her voice was breaking. Please, stop! I'm not doing anything to you, Lily said, her voice somehow carrying across the void. I'm just reminding you of what you did to yourself. The weapons on the Celestian ships powered down, 1 by 1, then all at once. On the bridge of the lead vessel, we could see Celestians collapsing, overwhelmed by their own rediscovered hearts. Mother, Zaratel said softly, it's okay to feel. It's okay to remember her. Varatel, the High Counselor whispered, and for the first time in decades, a Celestian leader wept. The victory was short-lived. As the Celestian ships drifted, disabled by their crew's emotional awakening, new contacts appeared on the sensors, Craven warships, an entire fleet. Looks like the Empire decided to handle things personally, Admiral Chen said grimly. The lead Craven ship hailed us. The face that appeared on screen was familiar. Not Thaxor, who died defending us, but his superior, Supreme Commander Krixar. Humans, he said with undisguised contempt. You've corrupted the Celestians, turned them weak. This ends now. Commander, I said, stepping forward. Your subordinate Thaxor died with honor, choosing to protect innocence. Is that weakness? Thaxor died a traitor's death, corrupted by your daughter's abomination. My daughter showed him what he'd forgotten. That strength isn't about domination. It's about protection, about choosing to be better. Philosophy from a mechanic. How amusing. Fire all weapons. But before the Craven could attack, something extraordinary happened. The humans on Station Zero began to sing. It started with one voice. Janet, the medical officer from the games. Then others joined. A song I recognized. The Last Dawn. The anthem Earth's defenders had sung as our world burned. But this time, it wasn't a dirge. It was defiance. It was hope. And Lily amplified it. The song spread through space, carried on waves of resonance. It reached the Craven ships, where something unprecedented occurred. The lower caste Craven, the workers and soldiers who'd never been allowed to question or feel, suddenly heard music for the first time. Really heard it. What is this? Krixar demanded, as his bridge crew began to falter. It's art, Lily said simply. It's beauty. It's everything you've told them they're not allowed to have. One Craven soldier dropped his weapon. Then another. On ship after ship, the rigid hierarchy that held the Empire together began to crack. This is impossible, Krixar snarled. We are Craven. We are supreme. You're beings with hearts, Lily replied. You've just forgotten how to use them. That's when the real revelation came. Drax, Thaxor's son, appeared on a secondary channel. He was on one of the Craven ships. But he wasn't alone. Dozens of young Cravens stood with him. Father died free, Drax announced. He died choosing love over fear. We choose the same. You dare? We dare everything, Drax interrupted Krixar. The human child showed us what we could be. Not conquerors, not oppressors, just people. Isn't that enough? Civil war erupted in the Craven fleet, ships firing on ships, brothers against brothers, the Empire eating itself. Stop, Lily pleaded, tears streaming down her face. Please, stop fighting. But they couldn't hear her over their own rage. Centuries of suppression and control exploding into violence. That's when Zaratel did something I'll never forget. She walked to the communication console and began to sing. Not a human song, but a Celestian lullaby. The one her mother had sung to Veritel before the Clarity ritual stole such things away. Her mother, still reeling on the Celestian flagship, began to sing with her. Two voices across the void, mother and daughter, separated by ideology, but united by memory. The Celestian ships moved, not to attack, but to interpose themselves between the warring Craven factions. Shields raised, a barrier of protection. Enough, High Counselor Zetravel said, and her voice carried absolute authority. Enough death, enough division. The child is right. We've forgotten how to be people. You've gone mad, Krixar spat. No, I've gone sane. For the first time in 40 cycles. I'm sane. She looked directly at Lily through the screen. What are you, child? I'm hope, Lily said simply. I'm what happens when you stop being afraid of feeling. And what do you want? I want everyone to have a choice. To feel or not feel. To love or not love. But to choose, not be forced. That would destroy our civilization. No, Admiral Chen interjected. It would transform it into something better. The standoff lasted hours. Craven ships faced Celestian ships, faced Station Zero. The entire power structure of the galaxy balanced on a knife's edge. Then Lily collapsed. The strain of maintaining such widespread resonance, of touching so many minds, finally overwhelmed her. She fell into my arms, her small body burning with fever. Medical team to council chamber, Admiral Chen barked. But it was Zetravel who responded first. Bring her to my ship. We have medical technology that can help. That's a trap, Reeves protested. Mother, Zaratel said quietly, I'll know if you're lying. The High Counselor's expression softened, almost imperceptibly. I lost one granddaughter to fear. I won't lose another. The decision was mine. Trust the enemy, or watch my daughter die. I looked at Zaratel, who nodded slowly. She's telling the truth. The conditioning is breaking. She's remembering how to be a mother. We'll come aboard, I said. But the weapons stay powered down. Agreed. The Celestian medical bay was beyond anything I'd imagined. Crystalline surfaces that seemed to pulse with life. Instruments that looked more like art than science. And at the center, a healing pod that could repair almost any damage. The resonance is killing her, Zetravel explained, as they placed Lily inside. Her human physiology wasn't meant to channel such power. She needs genetic modification, or she'll burn out within the year. No, I said immediately. She stays human. Then she dies human. There's another option, Zaratel said quietly. Synthesis. Her mother's eyes widened. That's theoretical. Never been done between species. What's synthesis? I demanded. Blending. Not changing what she is, but adding to it. Celestian control merged with human emotion. She'd remain herself, but gain the ability to regulate her power. The procedure could kill her immediately instead of slowly, Zetravel warned. I looked at my daughter, pale and still in the healing pod. Thought of Sarah, of her faith that Lily was meant for something greater. What would Lily choose? I asked. She'd choose to live, Zaratel said, to keep helping others. Then do it. The procedure took 12 hours. 12 hours of watching alien technology rewrite parts of my daughter's DNA. 12 hours of Zaratel holding my hand while her mother worked with desperate precision. During those hours, something else happened. The various factions began talking. Really talking. Drax brought young Craven aboard. Admiral Chen brought human refugees. Even some Urathi and Pantheri joined. They talked about the future. About a galaxy where species work together instead of apart. Where emotion wasn't weakness, but strength. Where diversity was celebrated, not crushed. It's impossible, Krixar said, though he'd been defanged, his hardliners outnumbered by Drax's reformers. So was a human child breaking the humiliation games, Admiral Chen replied. Yet, here we are. When Lily finally woke, her eyes had changed. Still green, but now with flecks of gold and swirls of nebula colors. Beautiful. Otherworldly. But still, undeniably my daughter. Hi, Daddy, she said weakly. Did I miss anything? Just the complete restructuring of galactic politics, I said. Tears streaming down my face. Oh, good. Nothing important then. She looked around at the diverse group gathered around her pod. You're all here. Together. Your resonance, Drax said awkwardly. It changed us. We can't go back to how things were. Good. How things were was broken. She sat up slowly. Zaratel supporting her with 2 arms, while her other 2 checked medical readings. But what comes next needs to be chosen, not forced. The child speaks wisdom, Zetravel said. The Celestian Council will need to vote, but I believe we can implement voluntary clarity rituals. Let our people choose their level of emotional engagement. The Craven Empire is split, Drax admitted. But the younger generation wants change. We're tired of conquest. We want to build. And humanity, Lily asked Admiral Chen. Humanity wants its dignity back, its place among the stars, not as servants, but as equals. Then let's start there, Lily said. Equals, all of us. It won't be easy, Zetravel warned. Centuries of prejudice and control don't disappear overnight. No, Lily agreed. But they can disappear eventually, one heart at a time. She looked at me then. My little girl who'd started a revolution with nothing but empathy and courage. Daddy, can we go home now? We don't have a home, sweetheart, not yet. Then let's build one, all of us, together. I thought of Sarah then. How she'd believed humanity's greatest days were ahead. How she'd been right, just not in the way anyone expected. The revolution wouldn't be fought with fleets and weapons. It would be won by a little girl who refused to let the galaxy forget how to feel. By a Celestian who chose love over logic. By a Craven who chose honor over empire. By humans who chose to stand when kneeling would have been easier. Yes, I said, pulling both Lily and Zaratel into an embrace. Let's build a home. As we stood there in that Celestian medical bay, surrounded by former enemies becoming allies, I realized the truth. Lily hadn't just changed everything. She'd reminded us what everything could be. Part 5. Humanity's Revenge. 6 months had passed since the confrontation at Station Zero. 6 months of delicate negotiations, tentative alliances, and the slow, painful work of rebuilding trust between species that had been enemies for generations. We'd established a new home on Harmony Station, a repurposed Craven military outpost that now served as neutral ground for all species. Lily had grown stronger since the synthesis procedure. She could walk for hours now without pain. Her crystalline syndrome managed by the Celestian modifications. But more importantly, she'd become a symbol. The bridge. They called her. The child who connected worlds. "Daddy, they're here," she said, looking up from her drawings. She'd been sketching again. Always sketching, capturing moments of the new world we were building. Through our quarters window, I could see the approaching ships. A mixed fleet, human, Celestian, Craven, and others. Today was the day everything would change. The first Interspecies Council, where the future of the galaxy would be decided not by conquest, but by consensus. Zaratel entered our quarters, her forearms carrying various datapads and diplomatic documents. In the months since her reunion with her mother, she'd become our unofficial ambassador, bridging the gap between human emotion and Celestian logic. "The delegations are arriving," she said, though her usual calm was tinged with nervousness. "Marcus, are you ready for this? Ready to watch politicians argue about trade routes and territory disputes? Thrilling." "It's more than that, and you know it," she said, 2 of her hands finding mine. "Your testimony today will determine humanity's future." She was right. As the father of the bridge, as a survivor of both the war and the games, my words carried weight I'd never wanted. But sometimes, the universe doesn't ask what you want. "Miss Sophia says the scary people are coming," Lily announced, using her name for the hardline faction leaders who still opposed integration. "She's worried they'll hurt people." Miss Sophia was Lily's resonance teacher, another human who'd developed abilities, though not as strong as my daughter's. She could sense intentions, particularly violent ones, making her invaluable for security. "Let them try," I said, perhaps more harshly than intended. "They'll learn what happens when they threaten our family." "Daddy, that's the old way talking," Lily chided gently. "We're building the new way, remember?" From the mouths of babes, my 6-year-old daughter, now nearly 7, had more wisdom than most adults. The council chamber on Harmony Station was packed. Representatives from 43 species. Some I'd never even heard of before. They'd all come to witness history or to prevent it. Admiral Morrison, who'd taken over human military leadership after Admiral Chen's retirement, nodded to me as we entered. Thompson, ready to change the galaxy. "Just ready to tell the truth, Admiral." Sometimes that's the same thing. The session began with the formal readings. Treaties proposed, territories discussed, reparations debated. Hours of political maneuvering that made my head spin. But then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. The council recognizes Marcus Thompson, father of the bridge, survivor of the humiliation games. I stood, feeling the weight of thousands of eyes on me. In the gallery, I could see the hardliners. General Vraxtor of the old Craven Guard, High Purist Metravel of the Celestian Orthodox, and surprisingly, Colonel Harrison of the Human First Movement. Members of the council, I began, my voice steadier than I felt. 6 months ago, my daughter broke the humiliation games not through violence, but through empathy. She showed us that our greatest strength isn't in our weapons or our fleets, but in our ability to connect. Pretty words, General Vraxtor interrupted, his mandibles clicking dismissively. But connection won't protect us from external threats. The Void Hunters still prowl the outer systems. The machine consciousness still expands. We need strength, not sentiment. With respect, General, I replied, what you call sentiment saved your nephew Drax from becoming another casualty of meaningless tradition. What you call weakness prevented a civil war that would have destroyed your empire. You dare? I dare because I've earned the right. I've lost everything to war. My wife, my home, my world. But my daughter found something in that loss. The ability to show others their own pain and joy. To make them feel. High Purist Metravel stood, her perfect features cold as winter. Feeling is chaos. The clarity ritual exists for a reason. Without it, Celestians would descend into the same emotional turbulence that plagues lesser species. Lesser species, Zaratel stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chamber. Mother, sister, I expected better from you. Or have you forgotten that your own daughter underwent synthesis last month, that she chose to feel, rather than fade? The High Purist's composure cracked. That was different. Different because it was your child, because suddenly the cost of perfection was personal. Zaratel's words were weapons, each one precisely aimed. That's what Lily taught us. Every loss is personal to someone. Enough! Colonel Harrison stood, his scarred face twisted with anger. Humans didn't survive the war to become pets to aliens who suddenly discovered feelings. We deserve vengeance. Vengeance. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Against who? The Craven, who were following orders. The Celestians, who couldn't feel enough to care. Or maybe against the humans who sold us out for favorable surrender terms. The chamber went silent. This was the secret everyone knew, but no one spoke about. The humiliation war hadn't been lost just through military defeat. We'd been betrayed from within. That's a lie, Harrison snarled. Is it? I pulled out a datapad, one Zaratel's mother had given me. Should I read the communication logs? The ones showing human corporate leaders negotiating surrender before the first shot was fired. The ones showing them trading Earth's defense codes for positions in the new order. You can't prove. I can and I will. But that's not the point. The point is, we all have blood on our hands. Every species here has committed atrocities. The question is, do we keep the cycle going, or do we break it? Lily stood up then, moving to the center of the chamber. The synthesis had changed her physically. She was taller now, growing faster than normal humans, and her presence seemed to fill the room. May I share something? She asked, her voice carrying that strange harmonic quality it had developed. The council president, an ancient Urathi who'd survived their own genocide, nodded. The bridge may speak. Lily closed her eyes and opened her resonance. But this time, she didn't project emotions. She projected memories, but not her memories. Sarah's memories. My wife materialized in holographic form, not as she was when she died, but as she was in her prime. A young doctor, working in the refugee camps after first contact. The chamber watched as she treated injured Craven prisoners with the same care she gave humans. As she learned basic Celestian to communicate with their wounded. As she argued with human commanders who wanted to execute alien civilians. This is my mother, Lily said simply. She died before I could really know her. But her memories live in me, passed down through quantum entanglement that humans don't fully understand yet. She believed in a future where species work together. She died believing it. The hologram shifted, showing Sarah's final days, her pain, but also her hope, Her words to me about Lily being special. Her absolute faith that humanity's greatest days were ahead. She was right, Lily continued. But not in the way she thought. Humanity's revenge isn't through war. It's through this. Through showing the galaxy that we're not the weaklings they thought we were. We're the species that can make others feel. That can connect impossible differences. That can love even those who hurt us. That's weakness, General Vraxtor insisted, but his voice lacked conviction. Is it? Drax stood from his position with the reformed Kraven delegation. My father died believing it was strength. He chose to protect humans he'd been trained to despise. That choice inspired hundreds of young Kraven to question everything. One death, one choice, started a revolution. That's not weakness. Uncle, that's power. The child's abilities are an anomaly, High Purist Metravel argued. They can't be replicated across populations. Actually, they can. Dr. Yamazaki stood, holding a data pad. In the past 6 months, we've identified over 3,000 humans with varying degrees of resonance. But more importantly, we've found similar dormant abilities in other species. 12 Kraven younglings, 7 Celestian children who resist the clarity ritual, even 2 Yorathi who can sense emotional echoes in quantum fields. That's impossible, multiple voices protested. It's evolution, Yamazaki continued. Triggered by proximity and trauma. The war didn't break us. It changed us. All of us. We're becoming something new. The question is whether we guide that change or fear it. And if we can't control it, Colonel Harrison demanded, if these, resonance, become weapons, then we teach them, I said. Like we're teaching Lily. Like we're teaching all the children at the Harmony School. The Harmony School had been Lily's idea. A place where young beings from all species could learn together, sharing knowledge and culture. It had started with 20 students. Now there were over 500, with waiting lists from across the galaxy. The school is an abomination, High Purist Metravel said. Celestian children learning human music, Kraven younglings studying Yorathi art. It's chaos. It's beautiful, her own daughter said, standing from the gallery. Cetravel had undergone synthesis a month ago, choosing to blend Celestian control with emotional depth. For the first time in my life, I can create, not just calculate. I can love, not just analyze. You call it chaos, Mother. I call it living. The debate raged for hours. Old guard against new. Fear against hope. The past against the future. But through it all, Lily sat quietly, her resonance gently touching each speaker, not controlling, just connecting, letting them feel each other's perspectives. Finally, the council president called for a recess. As delegates mingled, arguing in smaller groups, I noticed someone approaching, Colonel Harrison, his face grim. Thompson, he said quietly,